Hi guys, welcome back to the Inside Track. Today my special guest is UK superstar soul singer Mica Paris, who has just flown in from London to work with me on my new record, which is very exciting. She has just texted me to tell me that she's at the door, so let's go and say hi. Mica!
There you are.
Darling!
I'm just checking it's the right one.
Yeah, that's the right one.
Oh, cool. Hiya. How are you, darling? You right? Can I get you quickly? I'll follow you. I'll follow you.
Oh,
yeah, you look great.
oh.
You look good.
Well, we're going to do it in here, just to show you the room real quick.
Yeah. Ah, and it's got sound. Well, you got.
Oh, yeah, no, it's
oh,
all
you've
the
done
whole
it. You've
thing.
got the padding.
Got the padding.
Wow, nice.
Brilliant.
So do you want me to walk back in again?
No.
Oh no.
But I'll tell you what.
Very relaxed, isn't it?
It's all
Usually
very
like,
loose.
Do it again. Do it again.
No.
That's what I'm used to.
Really?
It was really good, Mish, but do it again. One more. It's like, really?
So let's play something from the show that we did in London. How about I Put a Spell on You?
Yeah, that sounded amazing.
It did sound good, didn't it?
Yeah, it was good.
All right, roll tape.
Spell on you, oh, 'cause you're mine. Should do. You better stop the things you're doing. Oh, I ain't lying. I ain't lying. You know I can't stand
Paris. Misha, it's very nice to have you here.
It's nice to be here.
Isn't it nice? How's your jet lag?
It's all right.
Is it?
I'm all right. It's always around 4 o'clock. I start getting a bit funny, so I'm all right at the moment.
Right. So we've got a couple of hours.
No, you're good.
Good.
You're good for a bit. You're good. You're good. But it's actually nice to be with you here because I was with you in London.
That's
last time.
right.
So it's kind of nice being on your turf
Yeah.
this time.
So we're going to talk a little bit about the London
Yeah.
show, which is where we met. And was it? Well, just to explain what it was, we did a live concert with
Sennheiser.
with Sennheiser. That's right.
Yeah.
The headphone company sponsored it, and we had an orchestra and we had some dancers. And you were my special guest, and it was killer, wasn't it?
It was fantastic. Well, I think also, I mean, everybody was excited because they'd never heard a concert in that way before.
Yeah.
To be sat there with headphones on, getting that sound in a concert it's something that's, I think it's only ever been done once before.
Yeah.
So that was really unique. And,
Yeah.
that's what was special.
Was it quite what you expected it when we actually did it on the night?
No, I mean, I was actually, because I've got such a big voice, I was actually worried because I was like, they've got it
Do
right
we need
there.
a microphone?
Do you know what I mean? I was just thinking, the poor things, their ears must be killing them right now. I was like looking for blood from the ears, you know. But actually, it was really all right. I mean, what I did, I kind of tried to pull back a little bit and not kill everyone, you know, because, you know, I'm really loud.
Well, let's talk about this amazing voice you have. I mean, I have to say, in all my years living in England, I'd never come across a singer that sounded so American. So you must have been listening to Aretha Franklin and Chaka Khan, all those. No?
No, it wasn't
But
Aretha.
was it just? Tell me.
Well, yeah. Well, basically, I was brought up by my grandparents. It's quite typical in Jamaican families. Like everybody chips in and raises it everyone. You know. It's just, and my grandmother's daughter, my auntie, basically, she used to get imports from America,
Right.
and it was the Hawkins family. And the Hawkins family are the ones that had that hit with "Oh Happy Day."
Right.
They were a gospel band.
Yeah.
But that was like one of their least great songs. They
Yeah.
had fantastic albums. So they're all from Oakland. So, you know, they've got that sound.
Sure.
It was just brilliant. So I used to study them when I was like 8. I started listening to their albums every single day. I was obsessed.
Wow.
I used to come home from school, 8 years old.
Yeah.
I'd come home from school and I would read the linear notes. I knew who played the triangle, the drums, the bass. I was obsessed. And I would sing it over and over and over and over. And people kept coming over and saying, how does she do that? She can. I could do every riff, everything that they did
Wow.
verbatim. I was doing that at 8 years old.
Right.
It
We
was
were just
insane.
copying.
Yeah, I had a voice before. My dad's a great singer.
I see.
I had a voice before that because I was singing in church when I was 5.
Right.
My grandmother knew I could sing when I was singing Rupert the Bear. I was about 4 or 5. She said, she's got a voice, that one. She's got a little vibrato going on in there, do you know? So they knew I had something.
Yeah.
But it wasn't until I was like about 8 when I kept singing these gospel songs that everyone said, oh my gosh, she's got something. I was like a little prodigy, and I
Right.
won my first award when I was 11.
Wow.
In Wembley, because the Pentecostal churches in the UK, it's a massive organisation, and they have like conventions in Wembley, which would be like your Madison Square Garden.
Sure.
You know, it's huge. And so I won my first award when I was 11 years old, and then my grandmother and my grandfather would take me to every Pentecostal church in the UK. I was this little celebrity when I was a
Amazing.
kid,
Amazing.
and that's where it all started.
Yeah.
But if it wasn't for those records that I was listening to, the Hawkins, I got into Chaka Khan late.
Did you?
Chaka, I started, well, because in my house you couldn't play secular music.
Really?
No, my grandfather was a minister.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
yeah.
we were the first family.
So it was gospel all the way.
All the way. Couldn't,
Yeah.
you know, wasn't allowed. I would only hear that when my dad would come and pick us up at weekends.
Yeah.
My dad would come and collect us. My dad was the one that would introduce me to Marvin. He would introduce me to Ella Fitzgerald, Miles Davis. It was my dad.
Wow.
And so, you know, that for me was just, it was so incredible when I would hear the secular music with my dad, and I was started to get this feeling like I really wanted to make that music.
Yeah.
I liked the gospel thing, and I became quite a hit in gospel. I even got on to People Get Ready, which was a huge BBC show
Yeah.
in London, a gospel show. I was singing on there when I was 14. Do you know? I mean, I became this little girl with this big voice.
Right.
Everyone was talking about this little girl, and that's kind of where it started. And then I got discovered singing in church when I was 17.
Wow.
And then I got signed to Island Records.
So
at 18.
I was going to say that you had your big record company signing when you were 19. Is that right?
No,
No?
I was 18.
Oh my God.
I
Okay.
got signed when I was 18. Yeah.
And you got.
It came out
when
when I was
they
19.
when they heard you in church.
Yeah, I got discovered in church when I was 14
Right.
by the owner of the Voice newspaper.
Okay.
He discovered me singing in church, and then he asked my grandparents if he could manage me.
Yeah.
And they said yeah, because they liked him. And he was the only white guy at that time in the UK that was a gospel freak.
Right.
It was just like he just loved gospel.
Yeah.
So he managed me, and he paid for the demos, and he was the one that sent the demos to the record companies.
Right.
And I got signed.
And who signed you?
Island Records. Chris Blackwell.
Chris Blackwell.
Yeah, Chris.
Chris personally signed you.
Yeah, it was Chris Blackwell and Julian Palmer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fantastic. And that was the album So Good with
Yeah.
One Temptation on it, which
Yeah.
was a huge hit for you.
Where Is the Love? That was a huge
Yeah,
hit.
I recorded that song too.
Did you?
Yeah, I did a long time ago.
It's a
yeah.
good tune. And,
Yeah.
But it wasn't my idea, that song. That song was Will Downing.
Mm.
So Will came up with that idea because we were both label mates.
Yeah.
So we had Where Is the Love, My One Temptation, Breathe Life Into Me, and the song with Courtney Pine, which was a massive hit as well.
Yeah.
Like Dreamers Do. I
Right.
had 4 massive hits with that album. And it went platinum straight away, and you know, it was, you know, in those days, you know, 1 million copies. It was just insane. No one really did. Nowadays, people don't sell like that, but that's what it was. That's what we did. You know,
Yeah.
the first album to come out, the first album selling like that, it's
I know.
pretty amazing.
It's ridiculous.
As a teenager,
Yeah.
do you know what I'm saying? So it was just, it was all very heady and very. It was like being in the middle of a hurricane.
Well, I was about to ask you.
A good hurricane.
Psychologically, how did you deal with that? I mean, was that a happy time for you? Or was it? Do you
It was
look back on
great.
it fondly.
It was great. It was just you don't have time to think.
No, you're just in it.
You're in it, and
Yeah.
you know, it was exciting. And the funny thing is that it becomes normal. It's amazing how you adapt. Like suddenly, this is my life. You know, I literally
Yeah.
came out of school, got signed, and it went like that. So that was normal. Jumping on a plane every 5 minutes was normal.
Totally.
It was crazy.
Let's play something else from the live show in London we did. Something that I played called Scatterfunk,
Nice.
which was a lot of fun to play because we had a beautiful string section and they got to work on this one. So check this out.
This is called Scatterfunk.
I like being in countries that no one really knows me. It's amazing.
Do you get stopped in the street all the time?
In Europe and whatever. Yeah, I get stopped. I don't mind that. I don't mind people stopping and saying, "Oh, Misha, I love your work." That's great. No, I haven't got a problem with that. But the problem is finding people who aren't enamored and in awe, and in awe of the fact that you're a celebrity person who sings. You know, that's the part that's tough, really tough.
Yeah,
it's really, really hard, that part.
I think that's the wonderful thing about being a jazz musician.
But looking back, it was like, wow, I should have lost the plot a bit, but I didn't, because it was just like an adventure.
Did you lose the plot later?
No.
You never lost the plot?
No.
God, look at you.
No.
Amazing.
But my family, no, I'm going to tell you, but I'll tell you a story. I didn't lose the plot like that.
Yeah.
But what I did do, I made a lot of mistakes. I mean, I remember my first trip back to London after being on tour in America. I came back a year later to visit everyone or whatever. I was missing home a bit, and I was at my mum's house for dinner. I'll never forget this. And my mum was like, "Look, now that you're back, we've got a few things we want to do with the family and da da da." And I turned around and I said, "I can't do it because I'm public property now." Who told me to say that? I had the whole family come down on me like a ton of bricks. Who do you think you are, you? And I was just like, okay, it was a mistake. It's just the record company guy said that I was public property, so I thought.
Yeah.
So that's what kept me on the ground.
You're not famous in our house.
No, love, you are just Michelle.
That's
all right.
So I dear, we've all been through that one.
Roasted.
Yeah.
So that's what kept me on the ground. Is everyone around me? You know?
Yeah. Well, good. Well, that's good to hear.
Yeah.
You worked for Prince, didn't you? What? Tell me how that.
The Prince thing. Well, before I went to America, it was just before we released My One Temptation. Actually, I got the tickets for his private gig from Island Records because it was like that Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. It's literally like that. It was the golden ticket. Everyone wanted that ticket.
Yeah.
It was a private show Prince was having. I was already obsessed with Prince at this point. I used to listen to Prince secretly without my grandparents knowing. That's when he was wearing suspenders and stuff like that. I mean, in his early...
No idea.
This is early career. He used to wear some strange clothes. But I didn't care. I just loved his music. So I used to hide it under the bed, the album covers, because it was very risque. So by the time it got to 2 years later, where I'm invited to his actual private concert, I couldn't breathe. I was just like, I'm here. I can't believe it. And Mickey Rourke was there, and Bono, and all of the A-listers. I didn't even care about the A-listers because I was just thinking, my hero. And I'm stood there with my best friend. We can't believe we're there. And he comes out with that guitar. Oh,
yeah.
God, and I nearly pass out because I'm so in love with him. I mean, I was so in love with Prince. You have no idea. I was obsessed.
I was a huge fan too.
I was obsessed. Yeah. And there he was on the stage. All these years I've been following this guy, and there he was. And he started playing Purple Rain, and I just, oh, mate. And then at the end of that, he started playing Just My Imagination by The Temptations.
Wow.
And
love that song.
And then he went, "Don't you sing?" And I was like, no, not me. I couldn't believe it. He said to me, and I nearly lost the plot. And I stood there looking at him, and I was just about to completely melt. And then he said, "You sing, right?" And I was like, and then he said, "Sing!" And I just went, and then I started singing Just My Imagination. And I held that note for the longest time because I couldn't remember the words because I was so nervous. I was so nervous. I just started to hold that note. And everybody went crazy. And then he just went into, and I was like, oh man, it was just crazy. And then right after that, he called me and said he wants me to join the band. And I said, I can't join the band because I literally just signed the deal to Ireland. I'd love to because I love you, but I have to, I've just signed this deal. Yeah. And the single was just about to come out. And so he says, come to Minneapolis. Right. So I flew to Minneapolis and went to Paisley Park. And he started playing me all these tunes. It took stuff out of the vault. He had so many songs in the vault, And we were there at like 5 in the morning with Coffee and Cream, his dancers, as his bodyguards. It was quite funny actually. It was just funny because it was just surreal.
I was about to say, it's surreal.
Surreal. Yeah. It's just like, well, first of all, he took ages to come to the studio. And did
he?
Yeah, because I was just like, is he really going to come? because it's a huge complex.
So he was
It's
quite
like-
happy to keep people waiting, wasn't he?
Yeah, but he just did everything at night.
Right.
His whole thing was night. You know, prior to that, I was used to it because what people I don't really say about this, but I never really tell people this part. But after that episode in London when he called me up to sing and stuff, he was coming over all the time.
Was he?
And he used to call me all the time.
Wow.
And I'd go and meet him at different clubs around London. And we would just sit there.
Yeah.
I would just sit there. He would just go, I'm at Stringfellows.
So he became a friend.
Yeah, and I would just come, but I'd always bring my sister because I never really understood why he would always ask me to come. I didn't get it because he didn't say much. He would just sit there with me, and he'd come out with things like,
Was it company? He wanted company?
yeah, I think that's what it
Yeah.
was. But he wasn't a big talker.
No.
You know, he would just sit there, and he would call me and say, "Come and join me here," and I'd go with my sis, and we'd sit down and we'd just sit there. And he'd say the odd thing. He'd say stuff like,
Extraordinary.
He'd say, "I love your voice. You got an amazing voice. You remind me of Shaka when she was young." And he'd say stuff like that. And that was it.
Yeah.
And then they wouldn't say anything else.
Amazing. So let's show one more clip, and what would be nice is if we show some highlights from the show that we did,
Yeah.
and so you get a sense of the whole grandiose experience. So here's a show reel. Roll tape.
Hello, this is Nigel Williams. On Sunday the 5th of March at Cadogan Hall in London, acclaimed jazz musician Chris Standring with special guest soul star Mica Paris recorded a live album. A UK first, the concert was experienced through Sennheiser headphones, coupling the excitement of a live performance with studio quality sound. This show reel is brought to you by Ultimate Vibe Recordings and Tripolis Limited.
For those of you who don't know me, I'm Nigel Williams from Jazz FM. So, ladies and gentlemen, you're about to witness the 11th album from Chris Standring.
Please give it up for the one, the only, the unbelievable Mica Paris.
Hear what they're saying, day out and day in. I love you. You are my one temptation. Ooh, you are the one I've no resistance to. Oh, you are my one temptation. Oh, thrill that I'm addicted to. You're my one temptation. Oh, yeah. Ooh. When you run around, I can stand it when you put me
Let's talk about this new thing you did with my old friend Guy Barker, actually, when I used to live in London.
He's great.
Wonderful trumpet
Isn't he
player.
fabulous?
And he did the arrangements on some Ella Fitzgerald tracks that you sang on.
Well, what's
Talk about
happened
it.
is, yeah, this is a very, very new project. What happened, I got approached because it's her centenary this year, Ella Fitzgerald, and I've always been a huge fan of Ella. And one of the agents I have came back and said, I have this idea, Misha, what about you singing Ella Fitzgerald and have Guy Barker use his orchestra? And I literally just did a gig with him like at O2, like 6 months before with his orchestra, and I was going, oh Guy, we've got to do something together because he's so brilliant.
He's great.
He's amazing, and he's so lovely, and
Totally great.
he's just wonderful. And we were like, oh, it'd be great if we did something. So 8 months later, this comes along. It was just bizarre. And we went in the studio and we chose the songs, and it was Imagine My Frustration, which is not a very well known Ella Fitzgerald song, but it's a killer, and it's very much suited to me because it's almost like a gospel-y, because she didn't really do that very often, but my gosh, she could throw down when she was ready. So I did that song with him in the studio with 80 musicians, the 80-piece orchestra. In one day we did 2 songs, and it's gone off in the UK. People have just gone crazy for it. So literally, I've just come off of promo, four weeks of promo, and everyone's just going mental for these songs. It's wonderful, and I'm back in the game again. It's just bizarre. I've had so many. They always call me the comeback kid because I'm constantly coming back all the time. It's crazy, but I'm not doing it on purpose.
No,
I'm not like saying, well, my next plan of action will be. I'm not that clever. It seems that when I do certain things, out of curiosity, because I'm super nosy, that I end up like landing on my feet.
Yeah.
So far, touch wood. It's been for 30 years I've been doing that, and it works. Yeah.
I think there's a reason for your longevity, and I think the main reason is that you are one of the great singers of our time.
Thank you.
I gotta be honest.
That's very kind.
I think there's a lot to be said for having a career based on real talent.
Thank you.
So, are you going to be making a full-length Misha album anytime soon?
No, first I'm going to do this.
Right.
This Ella Fitzgerald tribute.
Yes.
I'm literally going in the studio to do the rest of the album with the orchestra now.
Great.
So that's going to be finished in the summer, and we'll put that out, and I'm going to tour that. And then right after that, I'm doing a Mica Paris album.
Fantastic.
And that's going to be done in New York.
Good.
So that's really exciting.
Great.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
And of course, tomorrow we're writing a song, aren't we?
We are writing a song
I'm very
together
excited
tomorrow.
about
We
that.
might write a few.
We'll see how we do.
You never know how it goes.
See what we can do in a day.
I can do so much in a day.
Can you? Oh.
Absolutely. Yeah, because it's exciting. When you're in a room with, as I always say to people, it's musicians. When I'm with musicians, things happen.
Yeah.
You don't even know where it's coming from, but we
No.
kind of tap into something. Something happens, you know. It's powerful, and that's why you just have to leave it open because you don't know where it's going to go.
That's it.
You just don't know where it's going to go,
Yeah.
but you'll come out with some stuff though.
Oh, I know that. Hey, listen, it's great. I'm so glad you're here.
Thank you, darling.
This has been fantastic.
No, thanks. It's just nice being in your house.
Well, that just about wraps up another edition of The Inside Track. Thanks, you guys. Thanks to Mica Paris. Thank you for flying in to do this. I'm so excited about that. Thank you to Minor Vineyards for the fabulous Cabernet Sauvignon. And if you're interested in this new album that Misha was part of, the Live at Cadogan Hall in London, go to my website, chrisstandring.com, and subscribe, and I'll let you know the minute it comes out. Thanks, you guys. We'll see you again next time on The Inside Track.
Just jump in, shouldn't I, really, and just have a lovely little swim. We had everything.
Brilliant.
Chickens, rabbits.
Yeah.
dog, cat, everything. So I love animals, yeah. Brilliant.
Well, listen, we're going to have some of this today. And this
That looks nice. That looks quite expensive, actually.
It is. Well, it's the good stuff. See?
Yeah, yeah. So you're not messing around, do you?
Yeah. No. Wraps up another. Do you think people think I'm an alcoholic?
How can you be an alcoholic?
Because I'm
You
always
look great.
drinking.
We're going to go in the pool in a minute.
We just might.